you also mentioned that you grew up fairly poor and was on welfare, and you never wanted that for your family, and that was partially ingrained in your head. So how much of that is ambition? How much is fear? Because they're both two different engines.
So the way I look at this is, and this has been the way I've always operated, I feel on a personal side that people react stronger in the fear of losing something than the ability to gain something. So like when I was a sales rep, it was, hey, you're going to make an extra 10 grand this month if you do X, Y, and Z. And like, you'd have some motivation to do that. And like, if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. You still made your bills and everything else was good. But if you turned that around in your mind and said, hey, if I don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to get fired or I'm going to lose my job. You tend to work harder to prevent losing something, and at least in my mind, than in gaining something new. So I always had that mindset, gun to the head. You got to do this or else, and that always kept my mind motivated in the right direction.
She also said something interesting about Anura. That was the first company that you built that you didn't need the money and you didn't have to worry about money. You had solved the financial problem with the previous company. You were finally going to build something just for fun. And then something happened, life, and you end up putting everything on the line again. Your wife and you looked at each other and said that you could lose everything. If you could go back to that moment, the kitchen table conversation where you and your wife decided to bet it all on Anura, knowing that what you know now, would you do it again? Or you think you would just played it safe?
And this is interesting. You must listen to a lot of my podcasts because they're all over the place, which is great.
That was the, I think, the Bold Business podcast.
Yep. It was never a single conversation where we sat down and said, let's put everything on the line. Let's go forward with this. We had another company. We were growing that company, and then we started this company as a separate company off of it. So I already had, going back to your conversation, I already had, my bills covered on one company. So this company, I wasn't worried about making money right away. It was just, we have a lot of people asking to take this technology we built in the other company and be able to use it outside of our network. And it got to the point where it said, it made sense to kind of push this out. And we started building the company, and all of a sudden we started adding employees and adding expenses and adding bigger networks and, maturing the infrastructure. And, it's little by little, it's like, you know what, we need a couple $100,000 for this. And it's like, we'll just take out a second mortgage. Oh, we need a couple $100,000 for this. Let me sell some Bitcoin. Oh, we need a couple $100,000 for this. Let's take out a cash advance. And then it was little by little, because it's like, almost like you're getting dragged into it. Like, just a little bit more and we'll get that, a little bit more. And all of a sudden there was a day we turned around and said, we just put everything on the line. Like not at once, and not knowing it, like not with a single decision, but all those little decisions that we made over the last, whatever it was, 6 months or a year. We've got millions of dollars on the line right now. And if it fails, we're losing everything. Like, this just wasn't the plan. It kind of happened. And thankfully everything worked out.